is it to be taken from who? From the bank or from the people who are saving their money in their banks? This one needs serious explanation. Number three, if you can look into the issue of liquidity become a problem. Even though the central bank release the money, people will stay for a week or 2 weeks without money, and then you will go and get the smaller notes that is £5 and £10. And this is happening now in commercial banks. That's why you have seen very many traders and the other people, they have just withdraw the money and left the bank that they don't even want and save their money from the bank. You should have to tell them, or what is so-called customer care, that they should have to take care of the people who are saving their money or who are receiving money from them. Because these commercial banks, they are not exactly giving the service the way it is needed.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio News, but first here are the headlines. The Parliamentarian Standing Specialist Committee on Finance and Economic Planning has ordered commercial banks to spot illegal deducting sales, tax and excise duties from custom accounts. The Commissioner of Tuj East County said 3 people were killed, 4 injured, and 11 are missing after an attack on a fishing island yesterday. A Mexican national recently repatriated to his country says he was misled about South Sudan, adding that the country is a home and people are treated well. These stories and more are coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Diko Andrew, and now the news in details. The Parliamentarian Standing Specials Committee on Finance Economic Planning has ordered commercial banks to stop illegal deducting sales, tax and excise duties from custom account. The directive follows a public outcry and a formal admission by the Banking Association that some financial institutions have been non-compliant with the law. The Standing Specialized Committee summoned all commercial banks management directors in Juba after receiving complaints from citizens. The committee chairperson Michael Awen Johnson stated the banks were violating the Financial Act of passing on an 18% sales tax burden directly to their clients rather than shouldering the cost to themselves, and happened to be saying this.
Finance Act, which was clearly communicated by the Revenue Authority to the commercial banks under the leadership of Bankers Association. Sales tax / excise duty is supposed to be computed out of the commission / charges that the commercial banks charge their customers. For example, if a bank charges 1% as withdrawal charges, then the Revenue Authority is supposed to be paid 18% of that 1%, and it is the bank to shoulder it. But then the public reported to us a concern that some commercial banks are actually computing this 18% and subtract it from the client.
During the meeting, Bruno Sirisio, the chairperson of the Bank Association, admitted that some banks has breached the committee's directives. He claimed the confusion stemmed from unclear communication from the National Revenue Authority regarding how the tax should be computed.
As a commercial banks, we are here to develop our country, and also we care for the welfare of the public. Since the sales tax was issued in November 2022, we engaged with the National Revenue Authority to see how possible we can do it without harming the public. Until March 2023, we came to implement it, and we pay all the arrears from the day of the issue of the sales tax circular or law. And as it was explained, as commercial bank, we have different methods of running operation the bank according to our tariffs. And that is where the public felt there is harm done to them by this sales tax from the commercial bank. And of course, they are free to raise their concern. And also, we are glad that the Finance and Economic Planning Committee called us today to clarify for us. And we have understood.
Elsewhere, the commissioner of Tuj East County say 3 people were killed, 4 injured, and 11 are missing after an attack on Fishing Island yesterday. Judge Rob George said the attack happened at a place called Lang, a fishing ground located in Sud Swamps along the border between Tuj East County and Duke County. He says gunmen stormed the island at about 4 o'clock p.m. in the morning. At 4 o'clock in the morning, killing 3 people, including a woman, and injuring 4 others. Judge also say 11 other people have gone missing due to the attack. He spoke to Ira this morning and happened to be saying this.
Yesterday morning, we heard an attack occurred in our territory, waged by one of our neighbors counties, Regional Hall, along an island, the island grounds at a place called Lang. So the incident happened around 4:30 in the morning. People were displaced and there were such casualties. So continuously, this happened in Lang, which is a land of those of Lis Bayam. People were displaced and 3 people were killed and 11 people are missing. And among those who were killed is 1 woman. So that's what had happened yesterday morning. And the motive behind that we are not aware of.
Judge said that the motive behind the attack is not yet known, and he, however, said that this is not the first incident. He said a similar attack happened in 2023 where 13 people were killed. A Mexican national recently repatriated to his country says he was misled about South Sudan, adding that the country is a home and the people are treated well. Jesus Monson Gutierrez was among the 7 migrants deported to South Sudan by the U.S. government as a third-party country nationals with different criminal records. Before leaving Juba International Airport on Saturday, Gutierrez said he had already finished his jail term in the U.S. when he was sent to South Sudan and described his deportation as a kidnapped.
I never think I was going to be and come to South Sudan, right? But to all this time I wasn't here. Really, they was wrong about what they talked about South Sudan. So South Sudan, they got a humble people. They treat me good, and it's a free country. And I finished my time over there in the United States. I finished my time. They're supposed to report me back to Mexico, but they never made the process. They did it wrong, They did it wrong, and they sent me to South Sudan like basically they kidnapped me.
Gutierrez also said he would like to return to visit South Sudan again in the future. Jesus Mones Marquez was handed over to the Mexican authorities under the care of Ambassador-designated Alejandro Castro. The Mexican envoy called the process a success story and thanked the government of South Sudan for respecting the human rights of the Mexican nationals. A member of parliament has criticized the recent revelation of 4 trade deals with the United Arab Emirates, saying the agreements benefit the elites and not help ordinary citizens. The agreement, including visa expansion, air services, double taxation, and investment. The Transitional and National Legislative Assembly passed the 4 agreement during the extraordinary sitting held last week. However, lawmaker Atem Garang said the deal were rushed through Parliament without enough time to study and examine them properly. He is also a SPLM lawmaker, said some of the agreements were drafted 10 years ago and should have been reviewed again due to changes in the region's geopolitics. He said there should have been a thorough study of the deal before ratifying them. Atem made this remark during iRadio Around South Sudan podcast last week, and he happened to be saying this.
Those agreements are against our interest as a nation, they are against our economy, they are against our security. We are a fragile nation, we are in a fragile region, and therefore we have to be very careful. Those agreements or MOUs, one of them considered to have been drafted as an agreement 10 years ago, and it was not brought to Assembly. It gives a question that the situation between us and Emirates and what I call geopolitics in our region during the last 10 years has changed so much. It has changed so much, even Sudan is not the same Sudan. And therefore, it could have been restudied again. People could have sit down, restudied the situation. How will those agreements benefit us after 10 years from thinking of them? Some of them were signed 6 years ago, 2019. So there was nothing new about them. Why I am against those 4 of them, all of them? They don't benefit us. They are illusions, elites illusions.
Lastly, the newly elected president of the South Sudan National Olympic Committee has promised to work toward giving traditional wrestling Olympic legal status so that it can be recognized and possibly including in the future Olympic Games. Chol Lam was elected on Saturday as the new president of the South Sudan National Olympic Committee for the term that will run until 2029. Speaking about his campaign vision, Chol said he's planned to organize traditional wrestling under international rules. He also said he will want to expand sport federation and introduce sport programs in rural areas to engage the youth and reduce conflict. Folk wrestling is a commonly practiced in parts of Central Equatoria, Jungule and Lake State. He added as well that wrestling is very popular and entertaining and many people in South Sudan are good at it. And he also continued to say that the committee will now focus on organizing the sport, teaching the rules and introducing it to more rural areas like Terkaka, Boma and Jungule and Lake State. Cho said it will also help the young people away from harmful activities such as kettle wrestling and give them hope through sport. The South Sudan National Olympic Committee was founded in Juba on 8th of June 2015 and became a fully member of the International Olympic Committee on 2nd of August 2025. And with that being, we came to an end with the local news. Now let's go to and listen to my colleague Akile Joseph with the international news.
After outfoxing Egypt on the diplomatic stage for more than a decade, Ethiopia is set to officially inaugurate one of the world's biggest dams on a tributary of the River Nile, barring a colonial-era treaty that saw the UK guarantee the North African nation the lion's share of its water. The dam, built on the Blue Nile at a cost of about $5 billion with a reservoir roughly the size of Greater London, has led to a surge in Ethiopian nationalism, uniting a nation often polarized along ethnic lines and mired in conflict. Elsewhere, a father who had been on the run with his 3 children in New Zealand's wilderness for nearly 4 years has been shot dead by police. Tom Phillips, who disappeared with his children in late 2021, had evaded capture despite a nationwide search and multiple sightings over the years. The case had gripped the country and remains one of New Zealand's most enduring mysteries. And finally, Donald Trump has threatened tougher sanctions against Russia after its heaviest aerial bombardment on Ukraine since the war began. Sunday's strikes killed 4 people, including a mother and her baby, and damaged Ukraine's main government building in Kyiv for the first time. The attack, which Ukraine said involved at least 810 drones and 13 missiles, has led to growing calls for stronger Western action against. That's all from the regional international scene.
Thank you so much, Akile. Now the sport with my colleague, Mike Moses Danita.
Thank you so much, Diko Andrew. In the world of sport, the Bright Star national football team arrived in Nouakchott yesterday evening ahead of the crucial 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier against Mauritania. Upon arrival, the team proceeded directly to their residence at the Sahel Hotel. Head coach Nicolas Dupois granted the players a few hours of rest before resuming preparations with a training session scheduled for this evening. The team will later continue to Nouakchott City, where they will complete their final preparations for Tuesday's clash against Mauritania, set for September 9th, 2025 in the 8th round of the qualifiers. Mikel Merino scored a hat-trick as Spain demolished Turkey in their World Cup qualifier. The Arsenal midfielder's third in the 57th minute was the pick of the goals as he collected a pass from Lamine Yamal and called home from over 20 yards out. The 29-year-old has scored 6 goals in 6 games for Spain in 2025, having netted just twice in his first 31 caps. Pedri scored twice, and his Barcelona teammate Ferran Torres claimed the other in Konya. Mikel Oyarzabal had set up Merino's 2 first-half efforts and assisted 3 goals in total as the Horse were stunned. And finally, Kenya's Sheila Chepkirui claimed victory in the Great North Run women's race as Britain's Eilish McColgan finished third. They Scot-trained Chepkirui and Vivian Cheruiyot in the final stages, and despite a late push, she failed to overhaul the Kenyan pair. Chepkirui won in 1 hour, 9 minutes and 32 seconds with her compatriot Cheruiyot 5 seconds behind and McColgan 10 seconds adrift of the winner. It was really nice, but there was a lot of wind, said Chepkirui, 34 years old. Taking part in her third Great North Run, McColgan was aiming to emulate her mother Liz by winning the race for the first time. I'm Darlington Moses. This is All in the World of Sport. Back to you, Diko the Andrew.
Thank you so much, Moses. And I think with that being, we came to an end with our news today. But let's remind ourselves with what was its headlines. The Parliamentarian Standing Special Committee on Finance and Economic Planning has ordered commercial banks to stop illegal deducting sales tax and excise duties from customer account. The Commissioner of Tweed East County says 3 people were killed and 4 injured and 11 are missing after an attack on Fishing Island yesterday. A Mexican national recently repatriated to his country, saying he was misled about South Sudan, adding that the country is a home and people are treated well. That's the end of iReady News. If there's any story or an event you love iReady to cover for you, you can just send us a message on our WhatsApp number, which is +211 925 287 870. You can also follow us on X at iRadioJuba, like our Facebook page, which is iRadio, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for news on Arabic at 1:30. I'm Diko Andrew. Thank you for